Hi, welcome to Hope and the Light of Suicide. I'm Tammy White. I am the CEO and founder of the Bobby White Foundation and your host. Um, if I look a little bit tired, it's because I was up till 3 a.m. painting the living room. I think I mentioned it last week. Doing some changes around here, which is really kind of cool because we can now do the show from the foundation office and just it makes it nice. Actually, the living room is the same color as the foundation office. Just kind of carried it through, but I'm going to try next week to pull out some old pictures of what our living room looked like because I spent a lot of time and work on how it used to look, but now it's way different, but it's nice. Kind of this color reminds me like a pale blue. I don't know what the name of it is. But it kind of reminds me like a New England cottagey color. But anyways, I'll perk up as we go along. First off, I want to thank, of course, Area 52 Media Group and my producer John Gaston um, for being such a huge support and allowing us to have this platform and bring information to you and talk about a really difficult subject, but it's something that we have to do. Like I always say, talk saves lives. But I have been forgetting to thank one of our other sponsors, DeLynn Gaston from the mortgage firm. Um, and she is such a great asset and a great friend. And so I really want to thank her because she's been so supportive of not only the show but um, to me and John and the kids going through this journey, and that's what it is. It's a new journey. So if you need anything mortgage questions, she's the gal to talk to. Um, I don't know where I'd be without the two of them. So yeah, that's just awesome. And also, when we have Art for Hope, I had to change everything. So we'll get some new flyers and stuff for Art for Hope, which will be in September, because one of our presenting sponsors, Nine Round, Kim Romanowski, she's been a guest on our show a couple times. She's closing down her gym so she can have a life, and I'm excited for her. But she's still going to be a part of Art for Hope. It's just a sponsorship from the business. So our main presenting sponsor is Area 52 Media Group. How awesome. So, and that's going to be getting exciting. We're getting ready to start to roll some things out and get some sponsorships. So we'll have sponsorship information next month. But you don't have to wait until Art for Hope to help sponsor us. You could help sponsor the show. That could be a good thing. So we need to work on that too. We need more sponsors so that we can bring more information to you, make it easier on us. And you get to know that you're supporting a cause that we have come across, and it's sad. Not just me, but my producer too. When we approach people about sponsoring our show, it's it's so hard, you know. They'll sponsor puppy dogs and kids, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it is a difficult subject. But it's going to continue to be a difficult subject if people don't get on board and quit being afraid. Quit being afraid to talk. Quit being afraid to share. It's really, really important. And that brings me to on the weekends, I kind of have a ritual. One of Sunday, it's been the same. Even when Bobby was alive, we would watch the Today Show, or right now it's Willie Geist, but and then afterwards Sunday morning on CBS. And so this Sunday, the first story that they brought to us was about two young men, his parents, family. Their names are Joe and Will Lawrence. And that's this is kind of like what we're doing with the show and with the foundation, is they, just like us, are taking a tremendous loss, suicide loss, and building a legacy and awareness that the people that we lose to suicide are more than just suicide death. Bobby, we've got part of the thing with painting the living room and doing the stuff around the house is April 1st was 32 years since we moved into this house. It had just been 25 years, a week before his death. And coming up April 8th is 8 years since we lost Bobby to suicide. And he is more than the suicide and just that one day or that awful moment in time that really changed the trajectory of all of our lives. I have this picture that I love of him, and I've showed it before, but I had to download an Adobe Photoshop thingy. Oh, I got paint on me. See, I was painting really. For a job that I was doing for the gallery, and I'm only doing like the trial thing. So I was like, the other day, I was like, oh, let's take that picture and see if we can make it a little bit better. So Bobby loved fishing, and he could be a goofball. I mean, I've showed some pictures of him being goofy. So I have this picture of him, probably one of the last times he went fishing and caught a fish. And he's just making like this really goofy face. You got that picture, John? Yeah, there it is. I use, and actually for the out of the darkness walks, it looked better on my computer, but it is better than what it was. So, but anyways, you know, that's really him. It's not what happened that day. And these parents, Joe and Will's parents, Mark and Jan, that's their name. There was a segment on Sunday morning about their sons. They were twins. They were born in May 17th, 1985. So next month is going to be their birthday. One of the twins took his life at the age of 26, 25 or 26. And then the other one took his life 6 years later, at the age of 32. So he was 26 and 32. These two young men were, since childhood, prolific, take that out of my mouth, prolific artists in all different types of mediums. And so last year, this happened in May of last year. There was an article written in some, I think, newspaper or magazine in Indianapolis, and a museum art curator saw it and wanted to put all their artwork into an exhibition. And of course, it caught my eye for two things. Of course, the suicide part and the art part, because that's what I do in my other life. But these young men were so prolific since a young age, like grade school and all through um, their adult life. So there was an exhibition, and it was at the Indianapolis Arts Center in May of last year, and it's called Joe Will Better Together. And it they did it for Mental Health Awareness Month, and to bring art. And the purpose for this part of the purpose for this center is to not only bring education, but to bring wellness and mental health and all that stuff to the community. And you kind of, through these gentlemen's artwork, see them. And it's just amazing. Um, their mother, I have some highlights here. I've read through these articles, and I'm going to put links to some articles that's part of the exhibition there. I have like 4 different articles that I pulled up, plus the link to the CBS segment in the comments. But uh, his mother says that art provided them the means to interact with the world around them. Maybe they couldn't always tell you what they were thinking or feeling, but their artwork was telling a big story. And that was them. And their artwork tells the story of them. Um, they were always together. They did, after high school, kind of separate. They went to different colleges, even though they kind of really didn't want to. But um, I think they and their family kind of felt maybe it'd be something good, so they could grow. They could still grow, but grow in a different way and not together all the time. But it was difficult for them. They were, they suffered with depression, and and then it morphed into alcohol and drugs, and which you know is typical quite often with suicides. Bobby's alcohol contact when he took his life was off the charts, and I really don't think that he probably would have taken his life at that time if it wasn't for the blood alcohol content being so high. But, we don't it's something we'll never know. But it is something that we come across, quite often. Uh, a couple of their pieces, I mean, these boys were or young men were, like I said, very prolific, uh, and they won awards for their artwork. There's, actually 2 of the pieces. One is, a self-portrait. It's actually a 6-foot by 4-foot oil painting, by Will, and he called it that's the one on I don't know if I'm looking at the screen on my left, I don't know which is right or left, but anyway, um, he won an award for that. I think it was is that one? I think one of them was Scholastic Art Competition Award. And the other one on the other side was by his brother, and that was done with, pieces of magazine, strips of magazines, for his self-portrait, and that also won an award. So, I mean, these young men had, quite the talent. Even, um I think it's a high school teacher said that, I mean, he categorized them as in child, art prodigies. Um, and I do want to note too that Jan and Mark has two old daughters that were older than um, Will and Joe. Oh, here it is. I think he was more than just a art teacher, but he was a coach too. Basil Smotherman. He says that the twins shared an outsized talent as well as their indistinguishable looks. I guess they were kind of hard to tell apart. They were identical twins. Um, and he says here, he did think of them as prodigies. They had something innate. Their art was just, it was just intuitive. They just did it. It just flowed from them. I think okay, here it is. Big Face was the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery. It's the first time they ever did that at a competition, and he ended up as one of the finalists. And the other one, let's see, and his sister's one. His sister Erin encouraged him to enter into that competition, and then the other one. Well, Joe's was the one that was pieced together. It's kind of like a mosaic, but a portrait done with magazine pieces. And that one won the Scholastic Art Competition Award and was displayed at the Corcoran Gallery in Washington, D.C. So anyways, it's a very, very good segment to watch. These parents are helping build a legacy for their sons, and I think outside of, and oh yeah, plus not only did they have the show, which ran, I believe, almost the whole month of May last year. They also now have a permanent art display, which is really cool. And I couldn't imagine as a parent, it's hard and it's bittersweet, but their mother said that even she didn't really know what to expect with the show, because and we kind of have the same thing with Art for Hope. We try and tell people it's not going to be a depressing event, and that's what she didn't want. And she kind of was afraid that it might end up being that way, but it was actually quite the opposite. And she felt like she was just getting a big hug from her boys, and that is so amazing. So yeah, you're gonna have to watch the segment and check out the articles that will be in the comments, so that it'll be easy for you to look up. But you can still, even easier, well, maybe not, just Google Will and Joe Lawrence. It's amazing. It's nice to see people taking something so bad and so tragic, and doing good and sharing with people, because that's what we need to do. I couldn't imagine these people, these parents, losing their one of the twins, and 6 years later Mark, the father, recalled, late at night getting a knock at the door, and he just, as a parent, I guess, intuitively knew. And when he opened the door, it was a police officer and a chaplain, and they couldn't even get the words out. And so he said, "It's about my son." And they said, "Yes." But they're taking a tragedy and really sharing their sons' lives with the community in the world. And I think it's an awesome thing. It's not easy for us to do. I mean, we can put on a good face. I can put on a happy face here sometimes. But I about had a meltdown and last night when I was doing all this stuff, because this, change is hard, and we didn't, none of us signed up for this. There are some of us that can uh perseverance, the will of God, whatever it takes, um to try and help others, and let people know that you don't have to do this alone, and maybe our stories will help each other. As a matter of fact, I was down at a luncheon down in Tampa, I think last week, and met a guy. Let's see, I can't remember. I think he is a cabinet, redoes bathrooms and cabinets and stuff. And so I introduced myself, and he told me about a gentleman that he knew, um, that he wanted to connect me with. He had lost his father to suicide, and so he connected us. We did some emails back and forth, and uh, played phone tag a couple times, but we finally connected, and I got to speak with him. His name is Logan, and super super nice guy. And um, he's young. He was 25 when his father took his life, and he took it upon himself. He comes from a pretty large family. I think there's seven. He said there's 7 kids in his family, and they had a painting business. And he didn't really want to be a part of that prior to, but when his father died, he decided to go back. Excuse me, lunch to the family business, and help out, because he still had his mom, and I may have had younger siblings at home. We didn't get that far into it, but ended up becoming president of their painting business. And I tell you what, this gentleman, he, as young as he is, and he said, and this is a choice that we all have to do. And for some of us it's easier and it comes sooner, and some of us it's not, probably like me. You have a choice, um to go down one path or go down a better path. And he said that the main thing that gets him through is when he's thinking, kind of sad thoughts, or gets these bad things in his head, is to think of something that he's grateful for, because there's more there than the dark, shadowy side. There's more things to be grateful for. And he's just so uplifting, and has so much energy. Of course, he's half my age, but I'd probably have that much energy back then. But anyway, so we spoke, and I'm hoping, I had mentioned it to him, we'll get him on the show here sometime in the near future. And I proposed, his wife's birthday's around that time, so I don't know if it's going to work out, but if not this year, maybe next year, to be a keynote speaker for Art for Hope. So as soon as we have that information, we're going to get together and have lunch really soon. He was it's kind of weird to say, maybe a breath of fresh air to speak to, you know, someone else who's gone through this type of tragedy, and is really trying to do good. And uh, like I said, he's kind of a breath of fresh air in the midst of all this fog that we end up with. So, anyways, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to meet him and his wife in person. So, my quote for this week is, I can no longer see you with my eyes or touch you with my hands, but I will feel you in my heart forever. And this is like really super personal because of the timing of this year. But please always remember to put those 911 or 988 phone numbers and the other lifelines in your phone. Have them ready just in case you need them. You'll never know. You never know when you're going to run across somebody, touch somebody. We're going to learn about mental health first aid, and we'll have more information for you next week on that. And you just please remember, there's always hope. Thank you.